Welcome back, everybody, to the last hour, because I forgot to give us a break at the halfway mark. Siege of the Empire. Go ahead and get started. Hello, everyone.
Welcome back.
I apologize that I forgot break, and
It's okay.
we've resolved it. I do want to take a moment, however, because Megan, you were not here. How's your week been?
It was good. Been hanging out with my brother, doing sibling stuff. Went to Maine, the beach, ate at a lot of really delicious restaurants. Watched the International every day.
I told everyone that I forced you to watch it with.
Yeah, it's all your fault. And that's it.
And
Also, most importantly, Megan, what's in your mouth?
Gross. I am eating Runts candies that I bought at this awesome candy store in Maine.
So now that we're on the topic, Megan, brother sister stuff does not mean what it used to mean anymore. just a by the way.
Also gross. You guys are horrible people.
Wow. Shots fired.
I wasn't gonna go
Someone
there.
had to say it.
I'm not sure
And
that's
it was
true.
going to be me.
That's true.
It was going to be me.
It's only because Jackson's not here, though, to be fair.
Exactly.
To be fair.
Because we all know about those Arkansas incidents.
Wow.
It would really be more effective if he were here to absorb that.
We would like
I'm
to
gonna-
apologize to all of our viewers from Arkansas.
I'm gonna start calling them like Arcanians because neither one really works.
Arkansasians, maybe?
Arkansasians, I love it.
Yeah, I think that's...
Kansasites?
Arkansiites? I like Arkansiites, too. It's good.
Makes
Everyone
it sound
remind
like a
me to
fucking
make
rock.
Jackson watch this particular VOD.
Okay.
Fantastic. Let's go ahead and get right back into it, though. So, the final scene that we saw was Obek returning out, and I think that we see Obek travel. We get like this montage of Obek traveling through like the swamps and traveling over to where the last known location was, and the whole time we see that he's got the box, right, with that has the lance in it, kind of strapped to his back, as he's traveling all over all this terrain. And then finally he makes it over to kind of a small copse of trees, and he's like, it's the traditional when you walk into an area and then like they drop from the trees and ambush you, and then they realize that they're one of you, and they bring Obek in. And Brian, why don't you go ahead and describe for us how Creed differs from when we last saw him, because it's been some time.
So, Creed, at this point, when you originally saw him, he wasn't really wearing much for armor. I mean, he's a lizardman; he doesn't really need to. But at this point, he's in full regalia. He's the chosen of Chotek, and they've outfitted him as such now that he's leading his riders. So kind of, if you've ever been shown what a temple guard looks like with the bone helmet, the shoulder plates, that's pretty much him. A little bit less so, because that is a right reserved for the temple guard, but he's still pretty much decked out compared to any of the other riders. And yeah, that's how he looks. It's a much different appearance than the humanized coat he was wearing beforehand.
Yes.
For imagery's sake.
Nice.
Yes,
Straight up savage.
pretty much.
Yeah, cool. So, with that being said, Obek comes up and he greets you. He's like, "Oh, chosen one, there are many things I wish to tell you. and he begins relaying all of the information that was given to him to relay. And how does Kree react?
Thank you, Obek. You have deserved a rest, unless you wish to rejoin the herd. Men, the fun's just about to start. And he reaches down for the box that Obek is holding.
Yeah, he presents it to
He
you.
just reaches. He takes out the lance and just raises it up.
Yeah, and we
Prepare
see
the
it,
war horses.
as you raise it up, we see it begin to like kind of dully glow in the nighttime, inside of the tent or whatever you have set up, or maybe you're just open air, who knows? But we see it begin to like dully glow in the nighttime, and the camp begins to form up, and we see that the bear riders follow suit, because probably in the same vicinity is lo and behold, I forgot the shit out of her name. Might be in my here, I'll look for it. But the leader of them, she rounds up her riders and begins to move out with you.
Kree, Jesus, I'm forgetting names because it's been so long. Kree makes a point to, of course, take one of his guards and send him immediately to the main camp to inform Bay.
Yeah, sure. Okay, got it.
Yeah. We all know who I'm talking about.
Beyonce?
Anastasia Ivanova is her name. He means Cahill.
Aelin understands.
Wow. That was not who I was expecting you to say.
Well, clearly they did not know Korean. Yeah.
I did not know you guys were so close.
Yeah.
He gonna steal your man away.
Yeah.
Apparently, man.
Come to steal yo man. So you send a rider back to meet with Cahill, and you begin to march.
Actually, more specifically, I send Obek to go and meet with Cahill.
Sure, yeah, Obek.
Less
right.
telephone.
Totally makes sense. Obek, you're gonna need stitches. Obek runs over to, he begins making his way back there, and we see Kree. You mount up on Noct, and lead your war party to the west, and begin traversing the swamps to get over to your appointed destination to await your next move, be it draw the forces out to engage or charge it and take the gate. Everyone, the group decides on what they're going to do. Also, by this point, it is interesting to note that Hannibal and Kira Malia have headed off. After acquiring the map of the sewers from you, Jericho, or at least the best map that you were able to give them, they begin headed off wherever they may be headed. I think in particular you notice that Hannibal asks about the more dangerous areas of the tunnels, and I think he mentions, have you ever heard of any Skaven being in the tunnels anywhere?
Gosh, I wonder.
Skaven in these tunnels? No way.
It's not like
More
it was
likely than you think.
It's not like it was the first encounter ever with 5 out of 6 of you here. Rip Josh. So
yep,
that's the direction that he heads off in. The areas that show particular interest in that, which may be cause for some concern for you, but
most things that Hannibal does are cause for concern. I can live with it for now. We have a living door.
Yeah, exactly. So with the new information that was gathered, I think Aelin has some more investigation work to do with, and I assume, Aelin, you let them know about the other 2 areas that you want to check out as well?
Yes,
and you
so
show them the little
should I not return,
things.
they might have an idea of where I went.
Yeah, and also, do you reveal your talismans?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so with Hannibal having already
Place them on
gone,
the table.
yeah, with Hannibal having already left, what's the reaction of the group to that? Now, Jericho, you don't even need to make a roll. You have no idea what this is or why it would have been that way.
I mean,
for as
I
long
just
as you know,
think-
the statue's been there. So
I can think sneaky and think this is obviously, well, I say obviously, this seems plausibly part of some kind of signaling system or an emergency key. And the fact that there are symbols both of Ulrich and Sigmar are interesting.
yeah, absolutely. So, I assume with no one else's like reaction to that, for the second half of the investigatory work that you are to do, what does everybody set their sights at for the final preparations? We got to deal with the gate somehow, or ignore it. Like that's always an option too, right? Is like
No, missed opportunity.
So we gotta deal with the gate. What does everybody think about? Like, is there any ideas about that are spit around?
I mean,
Alright.
I would want to know what Cahill's reaction to the gate would be, other than bullshit.
I think that Cahill uncharacteristically is there's probably like you send the message, Aelin, and there's a delay in receiving one back. And I think the message you receive back is along the lines of, it is yet another obstacle to overcome. I'm sure we will be able to do it. And then probably like, I'll confide with our priests, right? Like that's the thing that he has. Like, it's very clear that his ultimate focus is, I need to beat it down because I need to finish this now. And who knows what thing has surrounded this. So it kind of leaves you high and dry, but it also means that it's going to be a delayed response as to what the priests think of this. And you know better than anyone, they're probably just going to bicker about what should be done. The council of priests and priestesses, they're not very decisive.
Sure, fair enough. Okay.
Like the high priest of Sigmar would probably be like, all right, let's bring it down with righteous fury, right? Like that would be his answer. And the others would probably either echo that or be like, we should just avoid it. Like, it's just one place. Like, we can go other places. Like, let's figure it out when we have time.
Idiots.
This is why you're PCs and they're NPCs. This is the difference between PCs and NPCs.
Yeah, I think actually, once they are convening on this matter and people have been told about it, Jericho would like to talk to Aelin about that, actually.
Yeah, what does that look like?
This isn't really my area of expertise again. I can handle, obviously, teleportation, and that's been tricky enough, but as I understand it, you've got a bit of a knack for removing things. What do you think the odds are that you could just banish an evil door?
I've never tried, but certainly doesn't mean I can't.
Well, I mean, what are the limitations? What are you working with here?
Well, I've banished creatures before. I imagine this is similar to a creature. Honestly, without seeing it for myself, I can't make much of a determination.
Well, that I can do, but I know you have other people you're trying to find. Do you suppose you'd be having an easier time if you had a little more clerical backup?
Certainly couldn't hurt. I'm working on that.
All right. Well, I'm just thinking, if they're counting on their horrifying monster door to keep out our army, and you could just walk up to it and remove it, even for a brief time, and let our people through, that's the kind of thing where a few seconds can turn the tide of a battle.
I think you are possibly making me more powerful than I am, but I will certainly try, Jericho.
Right, there's nothing unusual about your power at all. Silly me, what was I thinking?
Dylan just kind of looks down.
Yeah,
Would
probably.
Marilla be around for this conversation?
I think this is like at the table, right? I didn't
Yeah,
view this
plausibly,
as a
or
private
nearby.
conversation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not especially. Like, he wasn't dragging other people into it, but it wouldn't be hard for anyone to get in on it.
Well, it is still a door, right? The gate, at least. That's
Well, you're our expert on what it is right now, Morella.
Specifically, Marilla, you did not see anybody utilize it
yeah,
while you were there, obviously. But it,
right. But
for all
it
intents
has
and
the
purposes,
appearance.
it
has
looks
the-
like a gate. Yep.
So she just says, "Well, I have been known to break things that keep things out."
Yeah.
And then she looks at Aelin and remember Nuln?
And then just kind of nods and says, do you think that'll work?
I am not sure.
You guys have got up to a lot in Null.
Nuln was... It was in deep trouble.
I heard. So you're talking about that business with the dome,
Yes.
right? I mean, that's the only thing that I can think of. So you think you might just be able to, what, punch a hole in it?
She nods at that remark. Yes.
Was the dome alive?
No, but no magic could break it. But I did.
IIRC, it was actually like devoid of magic, right?
Well, let's not talk about that.
It was like anti-magic, basically.
Yeah.
Hacks.
But yeah, I hacked it.
Yeah, and you think that this is definitely hacks.
So, yeah, she just simply remarks, perhaps, if it is...
Well, all right, fair enough point. I mean, I'd rather see it gone entirely than just having a hole punched in it, but they're both good options. I think we might have an easier time convincing our soldiers to move through quickly if there's nothing at all and not just a hole inside a giant living gate trap.
Yes. I'm much more comfortable with perhaps using Aelin's powers. Mine is not assured.
Guess well, anything I can do to help. Now I really must be, and she just kind of was like already starting to get up to go.
Sure, whatever. Checkout's at 11.
So, from what I hear on that, Jericho, you're gonna go try and find perhaps these priests or priestesses of Ulrich.
Well, I think
or
Aelin's on
anyone.
that, isn't she?
Me?
Oh, were you gonna go do that, or were you gonna go investigate these other areas?
Well,
Are those not the same
are
thing?
those mutually exclusive, or?
I guess not necessarily.
I mean, I guess we could both be on it, but I mean, I was definitely going to go to the tower in
Okay.
hopes to possibly also find those who would be
Yeah.
followers.
Sure,
She's
absolutely.
multitasking. That's what she's doing.
Guys, I got a lot of things on my plate right now, okay?
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
What about you, Farron? You've been oddly quiet during this conversation.
Yeah, I mean, Farron has proven time and time again he's not that great in huge martial battles. And
I would
Yeah,
actually
it
say
is.
that's not correct, but okay.
Would you feel better if we got you an amp?
I mean, considering that I'm the one that usually ends up the most hurt out of everyone.
I mean, that's just your character, though. You're just prone to being injured, to be fair.
Yeah. Yeah. Farron. God.
Remember
And
that time?
abandoned. How come everyone just keeps on leaving you on your own?
Remember that time you couldn't breathe air, Farron?
See, this is why all Farron wants is just to have a nice house and just kind of take it easy.
Big-
Not have to worry about demons trying to slit his throat every.
Wouldn't we all?
Is he tired? Is that it?
What you're saying is Farron might retire from adventuring after this mission.
Hey, I mean, Arcadi's already got him hooked up, so. I
He's
just
been
need-
through a lot. He deserves it.
But yeah, so I guess who would like the help of Farron?
There's a good question.
Who wouldn't like
Everyone's the
Farron?
answer.
No. Don't all shout at once. Thanks.
I mean, I'm still trying to figure out what Jericho's got to be doing today because he's very invested in what everyone else is doing.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, like, so let's take a step back real quick and figure out what else needs to be done, right? So
Yeah.
we want to find religious stuff, hopefully related to Ulrich, so that we can use it to do something involving misdirection or complete annihilation of the world. We want to. We've settled the Westgate crisis, right? Like we're good there. We have people that are doing things in that direction. We've coordinated protecting civilians. So that's the one. That's the other thing. Any sort of misdirection at Eastgate. We haven't pursued that at all.
Right.
And Jericho, you mentioned that you and Farron would probably be on that duty because you are I mean, for lack of a better term, you're the spellcasters of the group, right? Hannibal doesn't really count.
Not while he's busy making bombs.
That's not magic, as he always used to say to me.
That's not magic or something we know
I
about.
believe that is a different character, but yes.
Doesn't matter.
Basically, everything is Jackson. Yes, I understand.
Yes.
So that is something you could brainstorm and perhaps come up with a solution to do such.
Yeah, I guess as other people continue to abandon him and put up the please change the sheet signs for housekeeping, Jericho will probably approach Farron and ask, seeing it's going to be the two of us working together today, I can't decide actually whether we should be focused on the East Gate or focused on trying to find out more about what their leadership is like. The idea that all of this is just a staging ground for something totally unrelated to the Empire is really unsettling.
You know,
It's
You could always try and just kidnap somebody. That's a thing you guys could try and do.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. Has there been any word or change from our other house guests?
Oh, that's a good point. We should talk about them for a second. So the woman and son were probably, I assume, brought by Aelin to the underground.
That would be great.
To be safe.
Oh, yeah, I thought that already occurred.
Yeah. But I guess the real question is, would you have brought Garulda's host as well? Or is that too much of a risk, liability? Because remember,
Terrible idea to me.
yeah, because remember, he believes that you are all on the side of the occupiers. Yeah. They could always just bind him. He's only like, 15 years old.
Yeah.
You could just basically make an arrest, right? And just have him held down there.
I mean,
We had
Yeah.
we had or rather we were pursuing the idea of whether we could pull Garulda out of there in some way and keep him safe, but remove another one of the demonic leaders. But that was something that I think we were counting on Hannibal to be able to help us out with a lot, and he has other more immediate concerns right now with the incoming army.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was basically like vague, right? Like when he asked his father about it, it said it takes a great ritual, like and a lot of power to do something like that.
So I think we're probably just trying to keep him quiet for now, and if he goes, as we've been saying, if he goes loud at some point and Garulda bursts out and starts tearing things up, well, Jericho hasn't lived here in a while. That's an acceptable loss.
I mean, it won't devalue the house to have some blood on it. It'll be fine.
I don't think it's going to be anything standing at that point, but sure.
Also possible. But I assume that it has simply been like kind of under the impression as like, you don't interact with him too much. You assure him that you're like when you guys all leave, somebody probably stays back, and you assure him like you're looking for Garulda, right? Because like that was the big thing is like he was like, where did she go? Like we need to make contact with her.
Yeah.
And so you're like, yeah, we're gonna go out and look for Garulda for you, buddy. Just stay here, stay safe with this person. We'll defend you. Kind of thing.
Yeah, sounds right.
I assume that's kind of the standard with him.
Sounds right to me.
Okay. And then the other two are obviously safe and sound
Yep.
back at Resistance HQ.
All gone. Fantastic. They're both demons.
I mean, obviously.
Yeah. Oh, my mistake. Vampires.
Correct. Everything is a vampire. Basically, that's how it goes.
Yeah. I've made my peace with that. All right. So, Farron, do we want to try scoping out the East Gate and trying to brainstorm what kind of misdirection or shenanigans we might pull there? Or do we want to keep going looking for leadership, maybe steal someone high-ranking and shake them down?
I mean, what's worse could happen from our last visit to
I mean,
our
right?
high-ranking-
Stealing last time worked out so well.
So yeah, I think more high leadership.
Yeah. So you can
Beautiful.
go see if you could
Okay.
deceive and or subjugate someone maybe a little higher up to get some more information. Okay. So the approach there is going to be identifying somebody, right? Followed up by, do you want to try, do you want to just turn into a hot woman and be in distress? Or do you want to, slip some drugs in there and make him talk? Do you want to black bag over his head and drag him into an alley and beat him and torture him?
I've never done that one.
If only they had Hannibal's love potion.
Oh, that's a fun one. You should try it sometime.
Yeah, that's disturbing.
Sounds like
Yeah,
Wait,
or
the
do you
potion
want
or
to
the bag?
just like kind of stealth follow him and see what happens and eavesdrop on conversations that he has, etc., etc.
That would be the obvious way to go with things, yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So, who are we hunting? Farron, what do you think? Are we looking for military leaders? Are we looking for maybe... I feel like we've probably tapped out the necromancer side of things for the moment.
Yeah, I think with
After we stole their dragon.
I think with the impending D-Day approaching, like military commanders are probably on our list.
Okay. Well then, seeing as Jericho already sort of started trying to follow the chain of command up with his earlier encounters with the Norse folk, where do you think we might start by looking for?
You know what? You probably
military.
got like a location of where they usually hang out. I would say either of you probably could have. So you know that the leadership hangs out a lot in the Freeburg, right here, up at the. Oh wait, not wrong account. Hold. Up here. So you know that a lot of them hang out over there, and that would be a good place to start. Like that's where a lot of the Norsemen leadership are kind of holed up in. You may not have specific names or anything, but you know that you could probably gain some good information there, which you got from the previous encounters.
Sounds good.
Okay. So why don't you go up there and I think that this is more perception because you've already done the investigation to find the area via your other rolls. So why don't each of you roll me a perception check to identify like people who would be more susceptible to giving away information or who you could schmooze or who would be easier to kidnap or whatever approach you want to take. Yeah.
23.
Damn, yeah. So I think that in this instance you'll have, because you both rolled so well, I think that you'll have a couple of options here, right? Like I think that you have a good opportunity for someone who is kind of a loner and doesn't associate all that well, but also you see them like have a lot of couriers show up for messages, and it's kind of like a hub of information. There are definitely probably some friendlier looking Norse leaders who kind of hang out together and kind of shoot the shit about what's going on that you could maybe eavesdrop on. It definitely appears too like there are some opportunities for schmoozing yourselves, right? Because not everybody knows everybody. You maybe could disguise yourself as one of them and try and deceive them into giving away information, or pretending like, hey, I'm here because I need some orders, and they're like, oh well, we've got this going on, so go over here. Whatever you get. I think you guys have the full gambit of good information, and that role will carry you over to how good that information is for sure. So what approach do you think you want to take? And you could make multiple here, right? Like you could each do one or combine on two of them.
Okay, so here's a classic move. We kidnap one person, we interrogate them, and then we impersonate them to go interrogate somebody else.
Yep, 100%. There you go.
Farron, what do you think?
I think it's brilliant.
Okay.
All right. As a show of good faith, do you want to wear the disguise cloak today?
I mean, I think you can actually pull it off better.
Well, that's the beauty of the disguise. You never, like, anyone can pull it off equally well because you can just make it look like a different cloak.
Oh.
It's literally kind of like a cloak of many things.
Well, it's a cloak of many cloaks.
Yeah, there you go.
It's a cloak of many cloaks.
Almost, but not quite as good as the
Cloak of many
the robe of useful items, also known as the robe of many dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Farron still thinks you are. The only thing he will say is you are only slightly better at deception than he is. I'm much better hiding in the shadows.
If you insist.
So,
all right.
Out of the people I've described, Jericho, who's the target for interrogation and bind, gag, take clothes, disguise?
I mean, I think the one who has the least social contact is going to be the easiest one to kidnap without anybody else noticing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm just talking because he's asking me these things. I don't want to talk over Farron if Farron has other ideas.
No, I
It's an equal bartership.
yeah, I was thinking.
Ha 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 ha
Bart.
ha
Nice.
ha
Bard.
ha 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 ha.
No, wait, I got a better one. Bardnership. There you go.
Yeah.
Suffer with me.
Stop
So
it.
agreed that the guy who seems to be like kind of running communications, kind of holed up in his office all the time.
Yeah,
probably
but it's got
a better
lot of good
target.
stuff to read.
Yeah, absolutely. So is the approach here just to like drop in through a window and, you know, do the black bag, throw him into a separate room, lock the door so nobody can get in, interrogate away, gag him, throw him in the closet, become him, wait for people to come in? Is that like the traditional play here?
This is on more on the rogue sort of things.
Yeah.
Farron.
Yeah, fair. It probably falls to you to like do the black bagging here.
Yeah, totally.
Obviously, Farron's the brute of the equation.
The
So-
handsome brutes, I'll have
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, exactly. So
Um,
what's your approach here, Frank? I mean, like, do you just walk in the front doors, right? Like,
no, I can do a simple. Oh hey, such and such is waiting outside and wants to speak with you, and just very simple.
yeah. So you do the thing. You let's say you walk in, right, and you're. It's kind of like a it's kind of like a guild hall scenario where you walk in and there's like a desk and you can see like a common area, and then there's like some rooms off of that, and there's like an upstairs that leads up to, you know, potential like lodgings. And like when you walk in, you don't see anybody right away. So you kind of like go hide maybe in a darkened corner. And you see this man. He comes out and he looks like an older individual. He also looks local. He doesn't look like he is a Norseman. And he's probably in his early 50s, and he is somewhat balding on the top of his head, and kind of wispy white hair that is kind of unkempt and you know, looped around the sides of his head. And he's got these like stack of papers that he's kind of waddling over. He looks fairly frail. If he sees you though, he'll know you're not Norse. So how do you go about getting the jump on him? Or are you going to try and like deceive him? To like lead him into a back room or something? I mean,
Yeah,
you do think it would be too easy just to like conk him over the head.
But as any good rogue knows, a job unseen is a good job.
Okay. So how do you go about when he comes around the corner? He's like kind of looking around. You can see like he heard the door open, but he doesn't see. His vision also looks a little skewed. He doesn't see everything quite well.
Yeah. So how many people are nearby?
Inside here, it's just you and him.
Oh,
But from your scoping out of the building, there is fairly regular traffic that comes in and out of this entrance area.
yeah, I try to deceive him and get him to leave.
Okay, so where do you want to lead him to?
I mean, where else? Back alley.
Okay, yeah. So you walk in and you say like, "Oh, hey, I'm here. Like somebody needs you out here, right? Like that's what you want to do."
Yeah, totally.
Okay. Roll deception for me. Good. Yeah, 19's good enough. So he's like, "Oh, I don't recognize you, but yes, you probably got a name or something, right? He's like, yes, just 1 second. Let me get my things. And he kind of like slowly kind of sets down his stack of papers, and you can see he kind of like adjusts, and he like goes over to a coat rack and like kind of lifts off a cloak, and he's moving kind of agonizingly slow. And so like you're probably like tapping your foot, like looking outside. Yeah. You're like tapping your foot, like looking outside, like, God, I hope nobody comes in right now. Like, he's moving so slowly. And Jericho, you're probably on lookout duty for this, right? You're probably, you have some sort of signal that you're going to send. And there's you can see a couple of people that like are kind of maneuvering outside and walking around. And I want you to roll me how were you disguised? Because you seemingly still have the disguise cloak, right?
Yeah, he's still got the disguise cloak, and I'm watching things from outside the building.
I would assume you're not inside the building if you're on lookout duty, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe you're like leaned up against the wall, like right next to the door or something.
Yeah, so probably whatever an appropriate attendant outfit would be for these circumstances.
Okay. Yeah, so I think that a Norseman, you can tell, because you're gotten pretty good at like the rankings now, he looks like a low-level like officer. So not like, probably leads some men into battle, but does so at the orders of his superiors, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he comes walking up, and you can see he's got like a piece of paper in his hand, and it's kind of rolled up and sealed as a scroll, and he comes walking up and goes to like knock on the door or go in. How do you address him?
Okay, so first question, what language is he going to expect me to be speaking to him?
Well, the guy inside's a local.
Right.
And so with that armed with
so,
that information, I assumed that you also were dressed as a local, maybe an attendant of his.
Yeah, okay, cool. Well then, I think Jericho is just going to. He's going for the non-threatening kind of attendant, sort of stiff and experienced, so a bit Alfredish, I guess.
Okay.
And he just says, "Excuse me, there are appropriate protocols under these circumstances. I am standing right here for a reason."
Yeah, and you see the Norse guy. He like puts his hand up like as going to knock, and he just kind of grunts, and he's like, "What are those?"
What business do you have here today?
His hand like kind of lowers, and he just like shows you the scroll, and like kind of like gruffly just like puts it at your face, and he's like, "I was told to deliver this."
Wonderful. Well done. I will attempt to accept the scroll from him.
Yeah. I assume you're not trying to charm him into doing this.
Not at the moment.
So I would say deception. Make me a deception check. You have a disguise though, so
shouldn't be too ridiculously difficult.
29, no problem. Yeah, and you can see it's very clear that he wasn't told a whole lot. He kind of just like looks side to side, and he's just like, and it's also clear that it's definitely obvious that he thinks this is beneath his station to have been doing in the first place. So I think he doesn't even hand it to you. He just kind of like tosses it in your direction, and he's just like, whatever, and just like walks off the other way. Just like tosses it. You probably, I mean, you might catch it, you might not. Who knows? It might just fall at your feet.
I think he goes to catch it, but these old arthritic bones, so he fumbles a bit. Yeah. But he does call sort of sarcastically after the guy. Your execution of your duty is be noted.
Yeah, and I think he just like, you see him just like spit on the ground and just keep walking away. So finally, after all of that occurs, the door like creaks open, and we see Farron like eyes bug-eyed, like opening the door, and like kind of ushering the old man out. And he kind of like he's got creeps down the little stairs out in front of his place.
You are just gone, or maybe I am.
Hello, is it me? Hello?
Okay, well.
forever.
Hello?
Hello?
There you are.
Hi there.
I think it was just Discord fucking up. But sorry. So you see Farron open the door and his eyes are bug-eyed, and the old man is like with his walking stick and cloak, like coming down the little steps. And he probably turns to you, Jericho, and he's like, "Ah, Albert, is that you?"
I'm afraid Albert is sick today.
Ah, very well. Show me where this man is that needs to speak with me. I don't know why he couldn't just come inside.
You know how they are. Foreigners.
Yeah. Yeah, and he probably just, like, guffaws and shakes his head. So you walk him around to the back alley, I assume.
Yes, indeed.
So, I guess the real question is here, Farron, do you just sleep him?
Of course.
Yeah, like how do you go, like...
I mean, it's a trained art with the chokehold at this stage.
Oh, I actually meant, do you sleep him, not do you fucking rear naked choke him. But I mean, hey, whatever fits your business, I guess.
Farron ritual casts sleep.
Yeah. Expending no spell slots, he casts single target sleep.
This takes slightly longer.
Yeah, and it's single target, right? Like you can't.
Yeah.
It's not AOE. The good news is though it's got like infinite health range, right? Like you just happens. Good. Only people who play 5th edition will get that joke, but it's okay. So you easily take him out. He doesn't even like struggle. Well, I think like he goes to like, and then just he's done. Like he doesn't. Good thing Aylin's not here, by the way. So.
Yeah, she's real good at putting people to sleep that way.
Gathering a
different situation, okay?
So you've got a good look at this guy now, Jericho. You could become him.
Okay. We're planning. So I take it we weren't actually planning to ask him anything, but.
Do you say that as Farron is choking him?
Basically, or possibly just after he's gone, like just after he passes out. Like, I guess we've finished the interrogation part.
Oh, so that part's over. Okay, good.
Well, I got a letter while you were in there. I imagine there's a lot more inside. Have some light reading.
Ah, shit, that's good. Okay, yeah, so you hide him behind something in the back alley, I assume.
I mean, if there's a side door, we can just bring him back inside.
Yeah, that's true.
Quietly.
That's true, yeah. You bring him back inside, but the good part about this tactic is no one will see anything amiss that's standing outside that might be looking, right?
Yeah, and I'm him when he walks back inside, so
right.
Totally reasonable.
Exactly. You know, 3 people enter, 2 people come back. But whatever, maybe the person that was, talking doesn't matter. You head back inside. Can both of you make me, this is going to require some investigation to kind of decipher through some stuff. If both of you can make me an investigation check, please. We're going to get the montage scene of you all going through all of this old man's stuff.
This is all on you. Holy crap.
With occasional Farron having to re-choke out the old man. It's gonna be just like sporadically.
Waved. I thought there was supposed to be a bag over his head or something. Like, I don't think you would have to do that as often if we gagged him.
Oh my god.
It's just like, oh, what did you say? I was I was busy with a thing.
Oh god, why is it that whenever these two work together, it immediately turns into a sitcom?
I don't hate it.
I swear, he had it coming.
So
Bards
good.
and rogues. Bards and rogues.
So good. With an 18 and a 19, you guys do quite well. So there are some very significant things that you find out here, and they are mostly related to logistics. It appears that they've kind of been utilizing this old man who used to run. You find out that he used to run logistics for the White Wolf, the Count of Middenheim, and basically has just assumed his duties for the new leader of Middenheim, and is a highly valued member of that particular area. And so some of the important notes that I'll paraphrase here that you find out, we get the montage scene again of, got the old man tied up in his room, like upstairs. You're going through scrolls. Every now and then somebody comes in, and Jericho, you kind of like, waddle over like the old man and, get the information. And, Farron's acting as your assistant, so you like send him off to find something, and you guys do a good job of making that up. But I think that the things that you run across are this. There has been a large something that probably is not so surprising, but there's been dragon bones that have been shipped into the city over to the temple. One can reasonably assume they are not there any longer. The other thing you find out is supplies appear to be they're not low, but the supplies for the interior city seem fine, but supplies for the army sitting outside appear to be lessening. And that's mainly because they've been starved of what they would normally consider supplies, which is the raiding and, meat of the ones that are conquered, right? Because they've stagnated, it seems like there is some weakness there to the force that sits outside of the city. Because the undead and demons have not been able to feed efficiently or a whole lot since arriving here, which has a lot to do with, the whole don't kill anybody thing, right?
So unreasonable.
Yeah, I know. So the other big important things here are you come across the fact that there appears to be an extremely high value prisoner in the palace dungeon.
That's the good stuff.
And the reason you come across this is because this guy works with logistics. They've diverted a significant amount of both spellcasters and guards to protect the dungeon, which leads you to discern that information.
There's no mention of who it is or anything like that. How long they've been there.
So the mention, what does it mention? What would it mention? Let me think. I think what it mentions is there's probably like a on the order for what needs to be done, what needs to be gathered for this prisoner. It says in like quotations as if somebody said it and this is what we are to acquire. Food fit for the King of Wolves. Is all it says on the paperwork.
Well. I think, Farron, these are some of the most productive days we'd had since we got to this town.
And you didn't abandon me. Funny how that happens.
I have been assisting you in a variety of ways since we got here. I think that's been clear. I'll even offer to let you wear the cloak.
Mid-conversation, the old man kind of like sits up groggily and Farron just fucking head bops him. He just falls backwards. Oh, shit, that's so good. Yeah. So, I think that,
Please don't blame Liam.
I think that is probably like the big part of the information that you get here. But you also get, probably, maybe as important, who knows, you get numbers This guy's he's all about the logistics.
Mm-hmm.
You get an accurate count of numbers within the city. And let me find this. So, when it was counted last, there appears to be a force of approximately 3,500 fighting units of various, degrees, be they Norsemen, or, necromancers or undead or demons or whatever. But 3,500 seems to be the most accurate recent number of how many fighting force actually is inside of the city, which you would know to be a low number to hold a city of this size.
What about outside the city?
Outside the city, well, it probably has. You probably have to do the math, right? It says that total fighting force. It probably is like items to feed. The number appears to be roughly 13,000 fighting units, which means about about 10,000 fighting units outside the city, which is slightly larger than the force Cahill is bringing.
Mm-hmm.
By about 1,000 or so.
And of course, they have that +5 boost from having no conscience.
Right, yeah, they're also demons and undead. So, they're not really effect of the they are not affected by fear. Is the important thing here, perhaps. So that's probably the other super important piece of information that you gather.
All right.
Fantastic. So with that being said and that completed, I jump back to Morella.
Yes.
Morella.
Yes.
Would you've done the thing with the gate, but you realize that you might be useful in Aylin's cause as well. Right? You have some insight into those sorts of things. Would you accompany her?
Sure.
Okay. You don't have to. If you have something else that you think is pertinent.
See, here's the thing: Bella doesn't have shit to do because she feels she's useless.
Which is why I'm providing to you the fact that you actually might be
useful,
important on these little missions here. Because here's the thing: this is kind of meta, but someone of Ulrich would probably respond to someone of Urson before they would of Shalia. Does that make sense? Ulrich and Urson are kindred spirits, as it were.
I feel you.
As opposed to Shalia, who is
picking up what you're dropping down.
Probably a little bit different from, or as different from Ulrich as could possibly be.
I don't know. Have they met Daniela?
True. Daniela is a badass, and I think to date has done more damage than any other member of the party. I didn't say taken more damage. I said dealt more damage.
Wow.
Damn.
I don't know, man.
Savage.
Precision damage to the ego.
Yeah,
I mean, I've gotten some good fucking smites off.
It's true.
Do we have greater restoration? Because
quick, apply a burn heal.
Lay on hands, bam.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, quick, lay on hands. But yeah, absolutely. That is something that Morella would probably be pretty useful at. And Aylin, you said that the next stop you wanted to make was the astrology tower, right?
Correct.
Cool. So, or astronomy, again, it doubles as both. You all head off in that direction in your various disguises, because you guys have probably gotten pretty good at blending in by now, having been here for so many days. And it's not really a danger of you guys getting found out as long as you're not, stabbing people in the street, and then possibly. It's a big city. So, when you arrive at the tower, it is clear that it's abandoned, In fact, when you approach, the doors are probably like broken off of their hinges inward. It appears something really big hit this going really fast.
Where's Hannibal?
And when you enter in, you can see the telltale signs of a battle past. There's no bodies or anything, but there are probably like stains of bodily fluids kind of scattered throughout the inside of the tower. Luckily, however, the roof appears intact, and the roof of the tower, I keep calling it a tower, but it's not really a tower. It's basically just like a big auditorium-style building that is open to the roof, and how it works is parts of the roof are systematically kind of carved out to open up to the air so that you can, you know, have your stargazing in it, so it lines up with certain aspects, as we've seen, you know, like Stonehenge and the traditional old school astronomy, whatever you want to call it, locations in our current universe. But luckily, all of that is intact. It just seems like there is some destruction and death in the area. Probably smells like stale dying. So when you enter, I assume the three of you, Daniela, Morella, and Aelin, you set about to just kind of search the area to see what you can see. Also, I should describe it. There's like stone benches that kind of line the outside of the auditorium area, and then in the center there's kind of a raised platform, where one would like go to be in the center, and kind of you can tell everything kind of pulls into that point right there. So what's the plan for the two of you, three of you?
Well,
I mean, similarly as to before, we're looking for signs of people who were here recently, not as in this battle, but prior to or after that, trying to see if anybody had come here either looking for others or possibly using it as a place to draw prayer, that kind of a deal.
Yeah, totally.
So remnants of incense or friggin' anything. I don't know.
Roll investigation or perception. I will give you either one, whether you're systematically going through the area or something catches your eye. That would be the difference between the two here.
Do you want me to roll for that as well?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right then. Pow. That's actually a decent roll.
Good. Wow, that's the real shots fired. Hey, nice. So, Morella, you're able to identify the hidden entrance here. And it looks like it has seen recent use. Again, this is known as an entrance to the area, but now you have access to it, which you did not previously. And I think notably along this entrance, it's probably like by one of the stone benches that lines the outside. You see that there are carvings of animals around, and notably, the carvings. There's one that is a fair bit deeper and more kind of indentured in the stone than others, and it appears to be the wolf. Aelin, as you're kind of walking around and searching, you make your way up to like the raised stone platform that's located in the center of the auditorium, and you're looking up and around, and you look at the ceiling, and your eyes pass over where like the sun is, and it kind of hurts, and you shy away, and you close your eyes, and you look down, and you can actually see that you're standing, and around the outside of the pulpit area, or the stone platform, there are carvings as well, and indentured deeper in one of those appears to be a small Sigmarite mace shape. And so I assume that the two of you, upon this, you do like the look at each other quickly, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what do you do with that information?
I think Ayla would just say it's clear we're on the right track. And
Yeah,
perhaps go
and
towards the entrance.
yeah, and you definitely seem like if you weren't specifically looking for something, it would be easy to miss it. Like, it would be easy to think that it was like simple wear and tear, but I think that what catches your eye is these indentions in the carvings appear to be less worn than the others. The others have kind of worn away and kind of, with all the constant just deterioration of stone, have kind of worn back and are much, less present than these two, the wolf and the Sigmarite mace. Or Warhammer, because technically it's
Maul.
Whichever you prefer. And I think that this shows signs of use, especially once you find the entrance, Morella. But it also may just be because it's the entrance to a Resistance HQ, right? Like, it may just be because of that there are signs of use. But maybe there, in the Resistance areas, there are those people. Because, Aelin, you also got, there are some Resistance cells that have Ulrich worshippers with them.
Yeah.
So what do you guys do immediately following that? Do you go into the tunnels? Do you go to the last location? What's on the agenda?
I think I would actually ask Aelin, well, do you perhaps want to go down these tunnels? Or search that last location that you know of?
Do you think possibly we should take these tunnels? We can at least follow them back towards that last entrance. It'll bring us out right by the garden. Seems like we can kill two birds with one stone. But first, and I think she would walk over to where the carving that would be by Morella, not the one that's in the center, but the one of the wolf. And probably take out from her, cleric pack, one of her incense and light it and put it over it, just as a sign of, we noticed, we're here, we're trying to find you, kind of a thing. Like, if anybody else were to come upon this, they would notice that somebody would be looking.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Leaving a sign for someone to come. I like it. Cool.
Quite.
Awesome. So, I think that you head off to what was told to you as the location of Ulrich's garden, but may not actually be. Who knows? And no meta, Brian.
Phrasing.
And I think that because I want to close it out here, and I feel like I have a good way to do so.
Yep.
We get a montage scene of Aelin and Morella and Daniela. You're searching, and you can't find anything. Like, nothing. You go to the area, and your mind kind of wanders, and you find yourself in a different part of the city that you weren't aware that you were in. You're like, no, we got to go back here. And when you head back to that area, you find yourself in a different part of the city that you weren't expecting to be in. You're like, no, did we pass it? Was it back there on the left? And you go back, and then you don't recognize where you are again. And you're well aware there's something going on here. It's very clear that that there's something leading you astray, but you just can't put your finger on it. It's like slippery. It's like trying to remember a dream a day after you've had it. It's very, very hard to grasp. And so we see with the information that everybody has gotten, we have a couple of things that are sure. We see Hannibal down in the sewers, kind of covered in like muck and sludge, and we see Kira and Malia like holding back some things, and we see Hannibal like bend down and like dig into like this muddy bank and kind of like scrape away and produce, and he pulls out, and we just see like the camera's like facing his face, and we see his face alight with green light, and we see him smile. And we see Kree marching with his men over to the swamp, and when he gets in the swamp, we see him like bending trees and taking trees down and creating these like, you know, this show of force in the swamp area, preparing large living tree fires to produce a lot of like black smoke into the air. Just to like do that show of force is what he was intended to do. We see Jericho and Farron kind of combining all of their knowledge that they found in this place, and I think that finally what we see is after the week of trepidation, we see there's a second incense candle at where you left one, Aelin. On like the last day when you return, there's an incense candle next to yours, and then there's also one over by the other notable carving, the notable like indenture in the stone, and we see that there is we see like pan through the palace, and we see that in the deep dark dungeon there's these spellcasters who kind of like are clearly holding some magic at a particular prison cell, and we see like a bunch of guards in full armor like standing guarding them. We see standing kind of atop the palace, we see just from a distance a figure in black and dark armor with like kind of flowing bleach blonde hair out behind him. And then we see rising over the hill, deep, like way off to the south, we see Cahill with his mount and his generals around him. We see him come up, and we see the force arrayed behind him, the dust rising from their march, and they've come within sight of the city of Middenheim. And I think that's where that's probably where we pan out, having our, we don't really have a solution to many of our problems, but we at least know what needs to be done in order to head in the right direction. So,
I really hope he's got a good idea for how to kill a door.
Me?
I was thinking Hannibal, but banishing or just punching a hole in it are both backup plans.
Hey, if it's a big enough hole, it works.
You never know when it's going to close up again.
I mean, the hole I made last time was big enough, so...
Very different situations.
Yes, that is true.
It's also a demon, so I'm even better at it. That's my logic.
Funny. So, inspiration. I feel again as though everybody deserves inspiration. I think everybody for their input into the session. I really enjoyed it. We progressed a little bit. We got some answers and even more questions, and we had some big reveals, and I think that everybody should just get inspiration for that. It was super cool. I don't think anybody
Ooh, I already had it.
Didn't do anything that made them deserved in this session.
Indeed.
Whoa. Woo.
So, next week we'll start the first session of Siege of Middenheim. Which we're going to make kind of its own thing as the culmination of all of the work that's been put into this particular operation.
Yeah, it's season finale.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Part
like
one, part two. It's gotta have 2 parts at least.
At least 2 parts. I anticipate it being more than 2 parts, but it depends all on how fast you guys want to progress things to either your death or the victory.
No, I can just imagine.
Thanks, Jordan.
This can take half a session or like 4 sessions.
No, I can just see it. Part 16. Why is it still going?
Yeah. Why is this still a siege? I'm going to take a more abbreviated version for sure. There's going to be a lot more abstraction.
Okay.
So that we can see the highlights. Because with something as massive as this, I think it's better to see the highlights as opposed to try and do the whole thing turn for turn. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So we'll do the whole like, all right, what's your goal in phase 1? What's your goal in phase 1? What's your goal in phase 1? All right, let's go play all those out. Blah 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 blah. Whatever happens. So yeah, cool. Awesome. I think that's it. I think that's all I got. It was a pleasure, as always.
Thank you, Jordan.
And can't wait to see you all next week. Where, just so you know, we'll start off with some big things next week. Just FYI. Come prepared to be making decisions based on highly relevant information, because it's not only the player characters who are causing big things to stir. Well, actually, it's because of the player characters, really. This is a culminating moment in empirical history that will involve powers beyond simply what the player characters control right now. Put it that way. So, it's been a pleasure as always. I'm gonna do outro. If I don't talk to you guys in a few minutes, I'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye,
It was
stream.
fun.
Bye, stream.
Oh boy, well that was fun. Don't you guys agree? You guys agree that was fun? As traditionally happens, always much slower than I wanted it to be. But that's okay. It's okay, we're gonna make it through. We're going to begin on the fall solstice next time. I'd like to thank everybody for being here. It's been tremendously fun. Glad you all could be here. I don't have a whole lot else going on. Except for, the 2 other games that I run. So, if you like what you see here and you want to see science fiction version, you can stop by on Sundays on Twitch TV or check out the YouTube. You can subscribe, like, follow, other fun stuff. You guys know how to use the internet, though, so go for it. And I just started Fractured Orders, which is Star Wars. So if you like Star Wars, that might be something you're interested in. You'll recognize the format immediately. So, that's all I've got from all of us to you. Have a wonderful night, evening, afternoon, morning, whatever it may be where you are as you're watching this. As always, try not to die.